What's happening? Welcome back to another installment of our 2026 Black History Month series, where this week we're going to be focusing on the achievements and career journey of multi-award winning sound designer, mixer, and founder of Artistry and Sound, Ken Johnson.
I first got interested in sound when I lived in the projects, and I would go at night and I would hear all these 4-part, 5-part harmony groups singing, and I loved the way that sound blended. I wanted to be a mixer when I first came into the industry, and was told that I had to come up from being an editor. So I started at Todd AO. I had a regular job, but in the evenings and the weekends, I would come in every evening, every weekend, and sit with editors and watch, observe, ask questions. On the weekends, I would cut training reels. I think I was ready a lot sooner, actually, than 3 years, but it took 3 years for me to get a show, and I started out on Melrose Place. And in 2005, I started my own company out of my garage, right? Because I wasn't getting the opportunities that I really felt I was ready for. And I would be training people, and I'd watch them go right by me, and then they become my boss, and I'm like, how does that happen? And the glass ceiling is real. The only way that I'm going to get where I want to go is to create my own lane. So I worked my way up, just continued to work at Sound Deluxe and continued to do my little side projects. And in 2008, I got a call from Dean Devlin, who's a producer of the Independence Day, The Patriot. He had a show called Leverage, right? So at that time, he was using a audio platform called Nuendo. Now, Nuendo was not very popular in the United States in the post world, but it's a wonderful platform, and it's used more in Europe than it is in the United States. But he had invested heavily into that. And because it was a lot cheaper than Pro Tools, that was what I was using in my garage studio, because that's what I could afford. So the first season, I ended up doing the sound design. And he loved it. He took me in his office before the second season. He said, look, I want you to take over all editorial on the show. And he said, I want you to start your own company. So that was my entry into becoming a legitimate post-production studio. We're what's considered a boutique studio, post-production studio. We pride ourselves on being able to offer great creative input into your project, as well as client services unparalleled. So we're trying to find our niche. We've done quite a few projects for AMC, Disney, Hulu, Netflix. I just finished the Netflix show and I'm getting ready to go into season 2 of that in June. Little Kev, which is Kevin Hart's animated series about his life as a child. We did season 1, so now we're doing season 2. As I went further into my career, I didn't have those types of relationships, so it was a little more difficult. So, and like I told you earlier, about the glass ceiling and not being able to be afforded opportunities, I wanted to provide opportunities, because when I look at the landscape of the industry, right, and I look at the percentages, the demographics of who's here and who's getting those opportunities, there are not a lot of people who look like me getting those opportunities, because those are coveted jobs, right? This industry, especially if you're in a union situation, pay well, right? So anytime there's something pays well, people are going to covet that and not want to open that to everybody. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is, right? So I know I've gotten several young men in the union. Now they're able to have health care, they're able to have a pension, you know, and they're able to take care of their families, right? And I'm very proud of that. And I'd like to do more of that. But in order for me to do more of that, I need more opportunities to bring work in, right? And then the more work I bring in, the more opportunities I can create, right? And that's really what I would love, right? To be able to do that, because I would like that to be part of my legacy, is that, I helped a lot of people. People like me, a lot of young people, they think, okay, I gotta be an athlete, or I gotta be, like a rapper, and when you talk about the people who will want to be a rapper or an engineer or a producer, they don't know that these opportunities exist to make a good living outside of that, because only a few of those people who are trying to become rappers and producers, and successful engineers, get to go. It's a small percentage. They don't have studios, music studios, like they did in the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, there were big music studios all around town, right? And there were, jobs, and I was working as a first engineer in many of them, and they're no longer here. Well, I think anytime that, you know, you're underrepresented, and you get an opportunity to you can be spotlighted. Um, I think that that's really important, because you know we don't want to forget all of the accomplishments that we've helped create or created. Um, and I think it gives the young people of today an opportunity to kind of see who came before them and how they paved the road for where they are now. Because, I don't even know if they're teaching Black history in schools anymore. I mean, I think those things are really vital. I think we don't want to forget, who we are, where we come from, and what we've done for this country.